There was a man that told me on our first date that he'd 40 lizards by freezing them to death in his freezer, and that is weird. That was a red flag.
I'd say it's more than a red flag. That's like the start of a serial.
That's what I was like, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's one of my boundaries.
Yeah.
It's a no from me. Also had another guy who was like, have you got any nicknames? And I was like, my dad calls me Lulu. And he was like, you know what your name rhymes with? I was like, yes, I do. Loads of things.
Yeah.
Cheese. I was like, yeah. And he was like, shall I call you Louise Cheesy? And I was like,
no,
I don't want, not really.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind
That's another one of your boundaries.
Louise Cheesy.
Yeah. Cheesy Louise.
But so I met Liam on Tinder and we got to talking, and he went against everything on my like strict criteria for swiping because he didn't have a bio. And I would never swipe on a man without a bio.
It's too much to think about.
I love a bio. My bio was brilliant. It was so well crafted. I was like,
know.
no bio.
What
but I like the
vibe was it? Like,
it was a bit jokey.
okay.
Yeah, it was a
Show
bit.
you've got personality.
Yeah, but I said, gentlemen only, please, because what I was trying to say there was not just up for a one night stand.
Right. Yeah.
Got to be at least a drink first.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classy.
Right.
So we swiped. I liked his chat.
Right.
Now, there was a little bit of misunderstanding on our first date where he mistook me for a dominatrix. And how that happened was before I would go on a date with anybody, I would have to vet them on a FaceTime call.
Right.
Because you can tell a lot about someone from a FaceTime, I think.
Yeah. Of course.
So he said, would you like to go for a drink? I was like, I would, but I would love to have a FaceTime call first just to make sure we both want to go. I was like, you will want to go on a date with me, but just to make sure. So he was like, yes. So we arranged this FaceTime call. We have this conversation. And at the end, he says, oh, can I take your number so that when I get to the pub, I'll message you that I'm there?
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'm not. I said, oh, no, you've got my number because I've just FaceTimed you off my phone. No. I had FaceTimed him off my laptop and it had come from my email address, which is louise.pentland. And he was like, oh, no, it's come from Louise.Pentland. I went, oh, you've got my surname now then? And he was like, is that a problem? And I was like, look, I know this is going to sound really, really weird.
Right.
But will you do me a favour? He was like, what's that? I was like, please don't Google me before our date because I just want to have a chance for us to meet on level ground.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is a bit weird. I was like, I know it's so weird.
Yeah,
and
I would straight away
And if you told me,
think-
the first thing I would do is want to Google it.
Yeah.
But could you just do me this one favour that I'll only ever ask you? A lot of asked him so much. Father my children. But don't Google me.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
So he goes to work the next day. He's a police officer and was like,
Oh.
this is a bit weird. And they were like, we'll look her up. So Northamptonshire Police Department looked me up. I don't think on my criminal record, which I don't have, but just, Googled
Thank God,
me.
yeah.
And they were like, I think you'll be okay. But on the date, I told him what I did. And he was like, oh, I know what you mean. And it turns out he actually didn't know what a vlogger was. It was a bit of a surprise to him when it happened. But I was like, so what did you think I was? He was like, oh, well, it's a bit awkward now. And I was like, what did you think I was? He was like, well, you came across as like very confident and quite glamorous because I've like obviously done full face of makeup for this. Like, oh, just come on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did you think? And he was like, well, I just thought tricks. I was like,
I love that he still
did you
went
get
on the
there?
date though as well.
Yeah.
Like he still
and I was like, well,
yeah.
let me tell you, Liam, things are going to get very disappointing for you.